Welcome to Goofy Getaways with your hosts, Amy Blades and Amy Fisher.
Hello and welcome to the Goofy Getaways podcast. We are fresh, some of us are fresh off of the Disney Cruise Line fantasy, so we're going to talk to you about that today and we're super excited. I am Amy Blades, owner and CEO of Goofy Getaways, and lucky to be with my counterpart today.
Hi, I'm Amy Fisher. I'm our Vice President of Communication and Development. And like Amy said, we just recently got off of a Disney cruise. And so this podcast episode, we want to share with you what we experienced on the cruise, what we liked, what we didn't like, all of the good things. So we're going to share all of that with you today on our podcast episode. But really quick before we dive into that, Amy, can you share just a little bit about who we are? What is Goofy Getaways a moment?
Oh, heck yeah, I would love to. Goofy Getaways is a travel agency located in Michigan. However, we have agents all over the United States. We are a fee-free travel agency. Do you know what that means? Fee-free? Yes, you heard us correctly. When you book a package with us, our services are complimentary. I love that we're a super diverse agency that really has somebody for everyone, and that's something that I love. That you can just come to our website, which is www.goofygetaways.com, and you can take a little click at like meet our team, find out who we are, and we have a lot of really cool information so that you can kind of look and pick and choose. And if you're like, I just really want to work with Goofy Getaways and I don't know who to pick, then all you have to do is let us know that, and we will pick somebody for you. So we're a travel agency. We specialize in Disney, Universal, cruises, all-inclusives, luxury travel, you name it, we do it. And we look forward to helping you.
Exactly. And we created this podcast because we wanted to share all of the travel tips and tricks. I can talk today. Travel tips and tricks with all of you. And Amy and I are just very real and honest people with you. Yeah. So again, we're going to share what we like, what we don't like, and things like that as well. So first and foremost, thank you so much for coming and discovering our podcast, whether you've been here since episode 1 or this is your first episode with us. We are excited to take you on board the Disney fantasy with us. Yeah. We sailed just last week.
I think we should talk about too, kind of how we came to the fantasy, and this was a Celebrate Love cruise for the agency.
Yes.
We are just truly a love who you love, and we wanted everyone to feel like they could sail and be in like a safe space and sail with us. Which, you have to talk to the people that sailed to see if they had as much fun as we did. But in all honesty, I believe that they did. But we tried to do something new, and we will do it again. I would love for this to be something that we absolutely do again. Truly just embracing everybody and letting them know that, safe space to book your travel, and we're gonna love to travel with us. So I think it's really fun to mention we did it on Valentine's Day because we wanted to celebrate love. Yes. And so that's why we call this Celebrate Love cruise.
Yes, I love that you mentioned that. So we sailed kind of the middle of February, right over President's Day. We did a 5-night sailing on the Disney Fantasy, which is one of Disney Cruise Line's ships. And it was a very nice ship. It is one of I don't even want to say like an older, it feels like an older ship now because they have so many new ones. I mean, we have the Treasure that just came out. You have the Wish that's out. So there are a lot more ships.
And a lot more to come.
The Fantasy and yes. Oh my goodness, over the next couple of years, lots more ships to come as well. So we picked the Fantasy.
Honest, I can say, and I think Amy would say, I don't pull this card very often. I'm the owner, so I'm going to do what I want to do. I really kind of pride myself, and I think my team would tell you that that's not how I run the company. But I will say I really wanted the Fantasy because then now I've been on every single Disney ship. The Fantasy, believe it or not, is the one that was the last one that I needed to go on. So that had a little bit to do with why we chose the Fantasy and kind of that timeline too of when they was traveling. But
yes. And the itinerary. That was the other big thing that we were looking for. Yes. So as an agency, we wanted to make sure that we got stops at both of Disney's private islands. So during this cruise, we were able to go to Castaway Cay and also to Lookout. And so we'll talk a little bit about that through this podcast episode as well. But that was another priority for us on this. Most of us had been to Castaway if we had sailed Disney Cruise Line before. But all of the agents who were on the sailing with us, that was our first time at Lookout, correct, Amy?
Yeah, we had only had one other agent on on our team
Okay,
that
that's
had
right.
gone to Lookout. So yeah, I'm super excited
Perfect.
to talk about that for sure.
All right, so we're going to kind of break this down a little bit day by day and just kind of give you all a rough overview of kind of what we experienced. And shocker, but we're going to save talking about food for last.
Sounds like a
Because
plan.
we're going to get real excited about food. So let's dive in and let's talk about Embarkation Day. So the
Oh
day
my
we
goodness.
arrived, because
Yes.
Amy, your family had a super special experience that I didn't even know existed. Can you tell us
Oh,
about it?
yeah. I knew that it existed, but kind of forgot that it existed. We were the family of the day. So let me talk to you about what that means. I know from previous sailing concierge, that one thing I love about concierge, you are able to get on the ship as soon as everyone can embark the ship. So typically you just have to wait for the family of the day who gets on first. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I never really knew what it meant. Well, this was the first trip since for all of my boys. I know you guys hear me talk about them. They're, age from 20 to 31, where we all were able to sail as adults. So the boys had their own rooms, and then of course my husband and I had our own room. Well, I took it thinking, oh, well, the boys are going to be able to check in and do everything on their own. Normally, I do that for them. I went in and I did my check-in. I got my port time. One thing to note is that the way that you check in for your cruise, it does depend on your castaway level. And so we are platinum, so we were able to get in and book our time. And I personally like to get to the port early, get on the ship, and just really enjoy the ship. Where other people like to get on a little bit later, I'm like, no, I want to get on early. So I was so excited. I had like my 11:30 arrival time, and as we were getting to the port, I said to the boys, "Now you printed out your forms and this and that," and they actually did. They did. However, their port times were like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I'm like, so you do realize you're gonna have to sit at the port for like 3 hours, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll ask. I'll ask if they'll let us go in. And I do want to say that Disney, they really do have the best customer service, but we also have to respect that they do have rules and that they can't
100%.
always, give in to requests from a guest. And this was on us. I just explained what I just said. I went up there and I said, look, we're able to get on. This is the deal. These are our boys. Can we all board together? And they're like, look, we will definitely try, but we're not going to guarantee. Once, like that first group of people come through, if there's like a lull, we'll do everything that we can, but we can't guarantee it. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just have them Uber so that they can go somewhere for 3 hours or have something to eat, whatever. I couldn't believe, like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, like, we have like 3 Disney people, official Disney Cruise Line people walking to us. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I was kind, I was nice. I really didn't, I'm like, oh, what are they? And they were so kind. And they said, we would really like to ask you if you guys would be our family of the day. You were so genuine. You were so kind. The way that you handled that was, very, very nice. And so we couldn't believe it. And I'm like, well, heck yeah, we'll be family of the day. So we got to go in, right into the terminal, and when we walk in, on all of the screens, it's like family of the day, and it says Blade's family from Kalamazoo. So we thought that was really cool, and we got to get a picture by that. They put us in a special spot that we could sit while we were waiting to board. And then once we were able to get in and the ship was cleared, we got to go on first. And Amy, I am a sucker for the parks anyway. I think you guys are starting
Oh,
to
yeah.
you get to know that about me. I love the characters. I am 52 years old, and there is still something about seeing Mickey Mouse or a princess, and also, like, my team knows that Disney Cruise Line does happen to be my favorite way to travel. And I hadn't been on the Fantasy at number 1. I was so excited. I call it the peacock, the chandelier. Just walking in was going to be emotional for me. I did not expect that. As we're walking in, the lobby is beautiful. Like, I'm envisioning it. It was stunning, and it was even more beautiful than thought it was going to be. But you guys, Captain Mickey is waiting there for us. Like, here comes Captain Mickey with, I mean, there were probably 20 Disney, all in the white suits, and they're all clapping and welcoming the Blades family, and Mickey's like waiting there for us. And it was just the most magical thing ever. And it just proves to me, like, I always say that you can cruise Disney Cruise Line as an adult. You don't have to have children. You definitely can have children. You can definitely do it as adults. But I was able to enjoy my children are still my children, even though they're adults, and seeing the excitement. All of us thought it was cool, but what genuinely touched me was how moved my husband was by the whole experience. So he was incredible.
I mean, if that's how we're
It's
starting the
incredible.
cruise, like, right, we just knew it was going to be
Excuse me.
a beautiful, magical experience.
Yeah.
So
So
I love that. That was amazing for your family. Obviously, there's only one family of the day. My family was not that family. But just to share with our listeners, port arrival. So our ship sailed out of Port Canaveral, where Disney has its own terminal, which made it very nice, very easy to get on the ship. We had some of our agents who stayed at Walt Disney World Resorts the night before, so they took Disney provided transportation for them. Very nice and easy. My family, we drove ourselves, parked at the port. It was, again, super simple, very straightforward, very, very nice. So I think everybody had like a very easy way to get onto the ship. We were able to like go on. Some of you went straight into a mixology class. I went and explored the kids clubs and went and saw those. I do have to shout out. So kids clubs areas are always super cute. It's a Small World was very cute. It's really nice to like go in on that first day because they'll have an open house. You can meet the staff. If you have kids that you want to get signed up for the kids club spaces, you can get them signed up. But even if you don't have kids, that's like really the only time you can go see those spaces. So I love to go explore it. The Oceaneers Club was super cool. They had like a Pirates Cove thing that was really cool.
I mean, every time I'm like, can we go in there and play?
Yes. Well, the teenager space, Edge and Vibe
Amy
were
fell in
so
love.
cool. They have their own pool deck with their own pool for the
I remember
teenagers.
the first
And
thing
it's
you said
better-
to me as soon as I
It's
saw you.
better than the adult only pool space, like, because it's completely private. So the adult only pool space, like, kids can technically like walk through it. And I'm like, but no, like that one, like they have to go get signed into the kids, the Ed or Vibe, sorry for the Vibe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is so cool. And it was really fun for me to get to walk.
Like how welcoming the staff was to you, like, because I've done that too. I was one that was in the mixology, which we will talk about in a minute. But typically when I get on board, I do like to go to those areas because we have so many people that ask us questions about them. So even if we don't have kids, either you don't have kids yet, or you have kids that are older, you can still, they're so welcoming and explain like the processes to you.
Yes.
And man, that's one of the things that I get asked the most about are the kids club and how it works. So I was really glad that you got to go in and experience that.
Yeah. And it was super fun to get to go around. One of Amy's boys went with me. He didn't go to the mixology either. He and I went and explored the ship. And because he has sailed Disney Cruise Line with you guys for so many years, he was telling me about his own personal experiences in the kids club. And he was like, oh yeah, we used to play with this and how fun it was. And I'm like, that is just like, that was really cool for me because obviously I've always cruised Disney Cruise Line as adult only. I don't have any kids. So it just made it that much easier that it was like, oh, I got to hear a little bit of his side. I got to talk to the cast members that were there. So the kids clubs are top notch, y'all. Like that was very impressive space. How was your mixology?
The hand washing.
Oh my gosh, I want the hand washers at my house.
I know. I think those are one of the cooler things. Mixology was incredible. I have never done one I've done one the same day I've gotten on, but like in the evening. And like we got on board and basically went to mixology.
You like dropped your bags and went.
Pretty much. It was incredible. Like it was a really, really good mixology. The drinks were really good that we were able to try. I really enjoyed the bartender. Another thing that I like is when you do a class like that, they are limited to 20 people, I think, 15 to 20 people. And it's kind of fun because and we had a larger group and we were appropriate. We're kind of loud and having fun and people kind of lean into that. And then I think they felt like comfortable and welcome. And I love meeting people because then you can see them like throughout the cruise, even though it's a big ship, believe me, you still see some of the same people and how was your trip? And we talk about that mixology. And so the mixology was a lot of fun. they have like mixology, they have martini tasting, they have like they had an old fashioned class this
Yep.
time,
Yep.
a tequila tasting, like a chocolate and wine tasting. They have
Yeah,
so
and we
many
did a mixology.
opportunities.
Some of us did one later on in the cruising, another mixology,
Yes,
completely different. And it was really cool because that one they made it interactive. Like
which
people
is
got to go up and
nice.
like help. I think they were mostly martinis, and so we got to like help
Yeah.
shake them and that kind of stuff.
Well,
So
and
that was
where we
cool.
always talk about that we're super honest, that's something that, I mean, you and I are very, and mixology pre-COVID every mixology class was more interactive and you got to mix all of your own drinks. Now the bartender will do it for you and then they bring them to you. So I was really excited to hear that they did that for you guys. And I
Yeah.
do want to mention also this is an extra cost. This is
Yes.
not
Yep.
something that is complimentary for the cruise, and it's something that you sign up for ahead of time before you go.
Yep.
Sometimes you can get lucky, they fill up pretty fast and there'll be like a no-show or somebody cancels, and then when you're on board you can sign up for it. But it's one of
Yep.
those things that you want to plan for early and it does cost extra.
Yes. And keep in mind, Disney Cruise Line does not do drink packages. So when we're
They
talking
do
about
not.
mixology and having adult beverages, you can obviously still very much enjoy them on Disney
Yeah.
Cruise Line, but they're just an additional cost and it's a like pay per drink scenario. So you don't have a drink package like you would on some
A
other
lot of
cruise
mixed
lines,
feelings
which
with people on
many
that, but
people
I
like and other
personally
people
am
hate
okay
it.
with that.
So
Yeah, I feel
I am
like if
too.
I'm on a Disney cruise, for me,
Yeah.
there are other cruise lines if you want to just be with people that, are going to utilize their 14 drinks a day, which,
Right.
you know what, we've done a drink package many times, so that's everyone's choice, but I'm
Absolutely.
glad that Disney has kind of stayed firm on that.
Yep, I like it too. Okay, so something that we should also mention as we're kicking off talking about this cruise and all of that is we want to let everybody know this was a 100% full sailing. Like there were zero
capacity.
staterooms left on this ship.
Yeah.
So the first day that we got on the ship, as I'm like exploring and trying to get photos, I was a little bit nervous on day one that I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to feel so crowded the whole time. And truthfully, it did feel a little crowded that first day, especially like up in the pool deck area. But the rest of the cruise, I did not feel or experience that at all. Like we didn't have
I
problems
didn't
getting
feel that way
chairs at
either.
Castaway.
No,
Like I
anything
just
that
felt
we
like
did.
everybody
Even
disperses really well. So keep in mind when you're first getting on the ship, it might feel crowded, whether it's full
it's going
capacity
to
or
in the
not.
beginning. Yeah.
It's going to feel crowded that first day on the ship, but then once people kind of like start to figure out where to go, how to use the Navigator app to go find things to do, there's so many things to do on a Disney cruise ship, and Disney disperses people very, very well. So
I agree.
just bear in mind, even on a very full ship, other than that initial getting on, I did not feel crowded
I didn't either.
at all.
And I think about the day, that we were able to get on, there were not any chairs like right around the pool in the sun, the adult one, but you and I were able to like sit in the water. There's plenty
Yeah.
of space in the, yeah,
And there
it
were
was,
still chairs nearby. They just
oh no,
weren't in
yeah,
the sunshine
I just
at the
meant not in
moment.
the sunshine. Yeah. Cause we actually, Amy, and actually her parents had grabbed a spot for us, which was really nice in the shade. So if we weren't in the pool, we were in the shade. So yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Okay, so
First day.
we're getting ready. We're getting ready to set sail. Big
Mhm.
thing to know: Disney Cruise Line. You do still have to go in person to your safety drill. When you're sailing on Disney Cruise Line, please be kind and courteous to all the other guests. Everyone has to go to the safety drill. So, like, we all got to stand around extra long because some people were not showing up to the safety drill.
So frustrating and so rude.
But just go and get it done with. Disney is all about safety. It is one of their key values. So please just lean into that and go do your safety drill. I do wish that they would, because for a while during post-COVID, they had adopted the other cruise line strategy where it's like you had a safety video and you just went and checked in at your spot. I wish they would go back to that. But again, Disney is all about, they are all about safety. Yep. I would rather that they did something. So, it's fine. So, but please, if you're getting on a Disney cruise ship, show up on time or a few minutes early to your safety muster so that we can actually set sail, because the cruise ships will never set sail until all the guests have done their safety drill. They can't.
That is correct.
So,
correct.
So okay, we did that, and then we went to the sail-away party.
We did. And I'll be honest and say, everybody else was doing their own thing from their mixology thing. And so Amy and I together, the two Amy's, We're together
We
at the
rocked
sail away
it.
party. And it's just another one of those things that we
Yeah.
love, and we will act like we're, 10 years old. And I
It
do
was
want to
so
say,
fun.
I wish, have you, and I should know, Amy, but I don't remember. Have you done a cruise with Disney where they had like the pom-poms? They used to have this for,
No.
I wish so much that Disney would bring those back, but we made our
Oh.
own, sail
We had
away
a good time.
fun,
We had a
but
good time.
yeah, there's
I
nothing
think the
like
sail away party is a
so
must-do for
fun.
people.
I do
Like,
too.
I-
I do too.
I was
The
surprised.
character,
Again,
yeah.
ship was at full capacity, but I was actually surprised at how many people were, instead of being, so the sail away party is always going to happen on your pool deck. And if you're down on the actual pool deck, like the characters come out and dance right there. They'll come out and dance with the kids and that kind of stuff. So normally, like, the recommendation is for people to be down on the pool deck for the sail away party.
Which
because
that
I'm
that
video-
part can feel a little, well, I'll be honest, that's
can
one of
feel
the
a little
times that can feel
congested.
congested, which is why I like to do what Amy does.
So I am videoing content. I'm obviously not going to go like creepy dance with random people's children. So I like to stand on a deck above so that I can video the characters and things
Yeah.
like that and see everything. So there were a lot more people on the second deck than on the main pool deck. Again, it didn't feel crowded. We still got a great spot along the railing and all of that. So like it was still lovely. But I was just surprised that there were more people on the upper deck than there were down. There was a part of me that was like, if I didn't need to get content right now, I totally would have gone down and just danced with the
Dance on there.
characters.
Yeah, I know. And the characters are so cool. And I love them. They're in their,
Yes.
like their sail away outfits, and it's super energetic. It's just fun. It makes you feel like, and then you hear the horns and it's like, oh, we are on a Disney cruise.
We are on a Disney cruise.
We are on vacation. Yeah.
Yep. And it was fun because we got to like sail past a restaurant that your family likes to eat at and some other cruise ships.
Yes.
So we got
that
to
was fun.
wave at those areas and things like that as we went by. So
We
that
were
was
totally doing
great.
it. I'm like, Amy, come on. Like, this is where we typically eat.
Yeah.
You gotta
It was
wait.
fun.
They're like
So-
waiting there. People really stand there and wait. Like, because we are in Orlando part of the time, we will drive over to the port every once in a while, either during the week if my husband gets out of work early or something, and we will watch if we know it's a Disney cruise. There's a cruise going out. I love to do that.
Yeah.
I love tasting. It was fun.
So it was very good. So when you sail on Disney Cruise Line, we're going to talk about the food, the actual food part more later. But just so you know, there's usually 2 dining times. There's an earlier dining time, which is usually like 5:30, 5:45-ish. And then there's usually like an 8:15 dining time that they call like the late dining.
Yeah.
And with those 2 dining times, with our group, we were all adults. So we picked the later dining time, which is normally what I do on cruise lines because, again, I'm not sailing with children. More people with children go to the earlier dining time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, no, I'm not opposed to seeing children on a Disney cruise ship, obviously. Like, I'm very aware that they're there.
Right.
But it's also very nice at the later dining time that there aren't usually as many kids. So we all had the later one. And I think we'll talk more about the food piece of it later, but I think we both agree that having the later dining time this time around wasn't a big win for us. We both
No, it
were
wasn't.
like, no,
Yeah, we'll talk
didn't
about
love
that for sure.
Yeah.
But we can
but
talk about
when you
what we
have-
did previously. Yeah, this is my favorite part.
So when you have your dining time, they also have shows every single night on the ship. And you're kind of like, you're not required to go to that time slot, but you're kind of assigned a show time. So if you have the late dinner, then you're assigned to the earlier show. And then if you have the early dinner, you flip and you go to the later show. So we went to the show before dinner. It was Aladdin. I'm going to be super transparent. I got motion sick that first night. I went back to my stateroom. I got to watch it on the TV screen,
Which I
in my
love.
room.
I love
Thank
that you were still
goodness.
able to see it. I had not seen
But
Aladdin
tell us
before.
about
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Amy, because you were actually watching it live.
Yes. I had not seen Aladdin. That's one of the shows I hadn't seen, and I was super excited about it. It was incredible. The cast, talk about energy on this sailing. Not that you don't typically get that on a Disney cruise, but it was extra energy and magic, and the talent was incredible. The costumes were so beautiful. The genie was so funny and so relevant. And I love one of the things that Disney does and they do well is when they write the show or the I guess kind of rewrite the scripts. It is amazing that they like incorporate things that are happening in the world now still in those shows. The way that they were able to maneuver the magic carpet, the whole thing, it really was magical, and I really liked it. I really liked it very, very much. So one of my favorite things is going to see the shows. Even if there's shows that I've seen before, I still love to go. I like to go to the shows early and then eat later, but I get outvoted on that a lot of times. So I was excited to be able to do it this time, but I was bummed that Amy missed it. But I will say the first night for me, typically, because I have that motion sickness too, and that's like one of the first nights gets you. But I was so glad when you told me that you were able to watch it on the screen. But
Yes.
yeah, I thought it
Yep.
was really fun. It was good.
It's super cute. So, and again, if you're sailing with kids and kids need to go to bed early or something like that, great news. You can still watch the shows on the TV in the stateroom. They'll usually be like a two or three different show times. It's not just going to be like running continuously on your TV channel, but it's there. So,
Yeah, which is nice.
so
I
that's
love that
kind
they
of
do
like,
that.
yes. And obviously we had dinner, but we'll talk more about food at the end. So that was day 1. So let's talk about day 2. Day 2
Yes,
was
yes.
Nassau Day, which we didn't get off the ship. Charles got off
I believe
at
so.
Atlantis and went to the water park.
Yes,
What did
his friend,
what did he and his
best
friend think of that?
So because we sail and Nassau's not our favorite place to get off, but I think he just wanted to experience it because we have a lot of clients that ask about it, and he wanted to check it out and see what he thought. And he did say that it was a great thing, like to take up your time while you're on the while you're doing at port, sorry, on an excursion. I don't know that he would do it again. It is quite expensive, but he did say that, I mean, they enjoyed it. Like if you've never done it, he's like, I would absolutely tell people to do it. I like to stay on the ship during Nassau Day because I would say probably, I wouldn't say half get off, but it is reduced definitely.
Yeah.
And
At
you
least
find,
like 30 to 40% of
I
people
would
get off the
say,
ship at
yeah,
Nassau
and I
for
think
sure.
everyone, I love the spa. It's one of my favorite things.
Mhm.
And so I love doing the rainforest room, and I find that happens to be a little less crowded, and the adult areas definitely are a little less crowded. So yeah, the rest of us did. We did stay on and just took advantage
Yeah.
of being able to explore the ship. But I would definitely say if anyone was looking for something to do, we do have a couple other options. Like as an agency, we have other options that we offer to people if they want to get off at Nassau. But that is one that we would now recommend. Yeah, booking it through Disney though, I would definitely not.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't be comfortable booking anything other than what Disney offers. So
for sure.
but yeah, I think
And
that's a great
something
time.
that was very cool that we got to experience, and this was the first time I've had this on a Disney cruise sailing, was the show of the day, they actually did a matinee show that day.
Mhm.
So we actually got to go, so they did it at like 1:00 that afternoon. And because I had gotten motion sick in the theater the night before, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do the show that evening. And so being able to go while we were in port, which means the ship is not moving, meant that we could go watch the show, because I'm so glad that we did, because that was the Frozen show. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to say real quick, because I know you have things to add to this, Amy Blades, but
I'll let you talk.
okay, for anyone who's listening for a moment, I'm a big Idina Menzel fan. Like, I have gone and watched her in concert. Like, I have all of her CDs, like, literally love her voice. So I have, like, that's Elsa. And so sometimes when you hear other performers sing those songs, like, not that they're bad, but I'm going to tell you right now that this Elsa girl rivaled Idina Menzel.
Phenomenal.
Like all of the cast was very, very good, but I was like, this is amazing. Like that was,
I couldn't stop. Like, and this is what I do, and I don't mean to, but I get so excited. So poor Amy. Like I keep whispering to her every I'm kicking her and I'm whispering, and I'm like, oh my god, that was phenomenal. Like that was so good. You know what I mean? Like every single thing she was doing, I'm like, and Anna
yes,
was so
everybody in the cast
good.
was excellent,
It
but
was
like Elsa and Anna
amazing.
made it.
And I kept like, because I'm like elbowing Amy, and she's like, you can quit elbowing me because like I'm right next to you. But I'll speak for both of us. We both love and enjoy watching other people enjoy the magic.
Yes.
And there was a little girl in front of us, I'm going to say 2 or 3. And every time Elsa was doing the magic, like the let it go, and we don't want to give anything away, but it's so beautiful the way that it
I mean, if
really
you've seen the
makes you
Frozen
feel
movie,
it.
you're going to
Yeah.
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, but in person, I mean, they do a really good job of making it
Yes.
seem and feel magical. And she was sitting in her little seat and doing her little magic, and I'm like, I kept hitting Amy, and I'm like, this is what they mean by magic meets the sea, you know, and I'm
Yes.
getting all this
It
like
was
Disney's
so-
marketing, and I'm like,
we're
this is
getting
what
like
it
emotional
is.
as we're watching it. It's like, it's fine. We're just randomly
was
watching
incredible.
someone's child and crying, but
So,
it was
yeah.
beautiful.
Oh,
Excellent,
yeah.
excellent show. Loved that they did the matinee. So again, that's the first time I've had that. Have you guys had that on a Disney
I've
cruise ship
not.
before?
No, I've not. That was the first time
So,
too. I was glad they
Disney,
did
if
that.
that's a new thing that you're doing, we love that.
Yeah,
Do more of
I liked it a
that.
lot.
That was fabulous. So keep an eye out if you're sailing on Disney Cruise Line for the chance of a matinee show, because that was, and it was again full capacity ship, but there were tons of empty seats
There
in
were.
the theater.
But that was okay.
So,
I mean, because it
was great. Like
yeah.
there was lots of space. I mean, like there was a good number of people there, but like there was still plenty of space. Like you could find a seat. I walked in, Amy saved me a seat, but I walked in a couple minutes late, and like we had our whole row just for us and the other Goofy Getaways people that we were with. So like it's really cool experience. So for sure, go check out the shows, because that was so good.
It was good.
So good.
I agree. It was really, really good. And I've seen it before, and I thought it was even better this time. The puppetry is masterful. It's
excellent.
It's a beautiful way to tell that story, for sure.
For sure. Okay. So again, we'll talk about food later on.
Yeah,
So let's talk about day 3, because that was Castaway Day.
Yeah,
And this
and
is
I
Disney's
love
original private
Castaway.
island. Amy, you did something new on the island for you guys.
did.
What did
I
you do,
did.
and what did you think of the experience?
And so, because I'm going to keep it real, I first want to say that I have always said very genuinely, people that know me, I'm being serious. To me, I'm like, Castaway that's what heaven is. Like, that is paradise. It's just, there's something about sitting, looking out at Castaway. I can't explain it, but that is like extremely magical for me. So I do love Castaway experience very much. What I decided to do this time was book a couples massage in a cabana on the island. And we have done them, of course, like on the ship, but we've never done it in a cabana. So I'm going to be real honest about this. I would not do one again. The massage itself and the massage therapist that we were working were incredible. That part was great. What I struggled with is I thought it was going to be a little more private, and that the cabanas were going to be out a little further, because you have like the big doors are open so you can see, the ocean. And in my mind, there weren't going to be people there. Now there were definitely shrubbery and things to kind of try to masquerade that, but you could still hear people, you could still see them. All of the windows were open, so if you were going to change, and everyone does massages differently. I like to do massages, so I do them often, and I wasn't comfortable with kind of like removing my clothes and getting under the bed because there were people around. So it just made me very uncomfortable. And my husband's not like a huge fan of this anyway, of that type of massage. And so it just felt weird from the beginning. I'm very grateful that the massages we both had in that experience was lovely, but I would either and I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to say it now, like even reaching out to Disney Cruise Line, finding out either being further down in a different cabana. I don't know. But for me, I would not do it again. Sorry, but I wouldn't, just because I didn't like that. I would definitely do it on the ship. But it wasn't, I guess, what I thought that it was going to be.
That's fair.
Sorry. But the island was. I love the island. I love the food. I love the adult beach. Yep. I love all of those things for sure. Like I don't want to, but I wouldn't I would just enjoy, like we like to do the bike rides. You can rent the bike. We like to, my husband's a runner. He likes to do 5K. And we took a wrong turn because typically I like to take the tram. Like I don't mind walking off of the boat and ship, but I still call it, and getting to like spot one, but then once taking that tram to Serenity, oh no, we decided we were going to walk, and I think we
Why?
actually did the 5K because it's my. Ask my husband next time you see him, please. I think he didn't
Okay,
want to
as a
wait for it, and we
self-proclaimed
got
I like to walk
lost.
everywhere person, take the tram on Castaway if you are going to the adult
It
only
was
beach.
hot. We were in the way
the
of the people
tram.
running the race. I know. Not again.
Nope.
I should have got a medal for the
Because I
5K,
made that mistake the
'cause I
first
did
time I
it.
went to Castaway, and it was terrible.
It's terrible.
I was like, I can totally walk out here. It doesn't look that far. And
Yeah,
then
I
you
can do
walk, and
this.
it's
What
like
are you talking
basically,
about?
it's almost it's like half of a 5K to get out there. And I'm like, no, just take the tram, my friends. Like, just
Yeah.
take it. I promise.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
Castaway is cute. What I loved, so Rachel, my friend who went with me, we got off the ship a little bit later that morning. We kind of had like a very nice slow pace morning because I had done Castaway before. And so we
and you're
got
not a
off the
huge
ship.
fan of the ocean. Like, let's be honest, you don't need like that prime
Oh,
spot.
truthfully.
Yeah.
No, and I'll be full on
Yeah.
honest with you. I would love Disney's private islands if they would put a pool on them.
Yeah,
Even
I
just
agree.
like a pool in the adult only area. But I do not spend that much time on Disney's private islands because it gets hot out. And so I need to cool off, but I do not go in the ocean.
No. So that's why, like, 'cause I always tell people, hey, make sure that if you want a good spot, whether you're going to be on the family beach or the adult beach, like get off early. If it doesn't matter to you, then that's fine. But if you want a good spot close to the water,
there's always tons of chairs,
Yes,
but like if you
yes.
want that like close front row spot, especially if you're going to go to the family beach, like right in front of the Pelican Plunge area, which is super popular because that's where they have like the snorkeling and all that kind of stuff. So if you want a good like front row spot there, you for sure have to get off early. But like Rachel and I got off at like 10-ish, and it was still like there were still lots of chairs available, just not those front row ones. But I love on Castaway how many character meet and greets that there are. I mean, within
agree.
30 minutes off the ship, we met Daisy, Minnie, and Goofy, all within 30 minutes of getting off the ship. And there's always like maybe a 10-minute line.
Yeah.
At the most. So it's really quick, fun. They're in their beach outfits. So I love that part of Castaway is going and like meeting the characters and doing the character photos there because that's probably my favorite part personally.
And they're in like their swim gear.
Yes.
Because that's what I love about
cute.
characters, especially on the cruises, is that there's different they wear different costumes like throughout the entire cruise. So that's always fun too. Yeah.
So Castaway Day, and originally we thought it was not going to be very nice weather on Castaway Day, but it turned out to be beautiful. We had lovely weather.
Yeah, the rain
I think it rained. I think it rained briefly that evening when we left, but like
it was gorgeous.
People were either inside eating dinner or doing the show by that point, so it was great. You guys saw a magician.
Yeah, and he was good. Yeah, I liked that. I like that they always do some type of show. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they played they play movies and stuff like that. So the new Captain America movie was out on the ship while we were sailing. So that was cool. You could see that. They kind of alternated between that and the Mufasa movie.
Yeah. Yep.
I did not go to
either.
I
didn't either. And of course they always do
I'm
a really
just not
good
a
job
big
of,
movie person.
Well, and that's one thing that my husband always says. He's like, if we're in the middle of the ocean, I want to do something that we wouldn't typically do on, but when we've done longer sailings, like when we did our Iceland sailing, like anything 10 nights or longer, then of course it's really cool that they offer those. But there are a lot of people that really do like the movie. So I think it's a cool option for people.
For sure. Oh, yeah. And if you're like, hey, we don't want to go sit by the pool right now and that kind of stuff. Or if you're like, hey, we're not pool people. Excellent. Don't worry. There's tons of other things to do. Sure. But okay. So that was Castaway Day. Next day was Lookout Day.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful.
On this. I fell in love with Lookout.
It's a beautiful space.
I just booked a cruise for my husband and I, just a short sailing just to go back to that island. I thought it was clean and bright, and the energy was incredible. The food was delicious. The sand was
amazing.
Unlike any sand I've ever felt, and I've vacationed
so
all
soft
over the world. the walk from the ship when you go down like the pier that they built, which is
Mm-hmm.
actually, when you know the story of it and why there is the pier, it's all about the environment and
Yep.
maintaining the, the habitat that was already there. But I think it's a little over a half mile. My husband did like
Yes.
measure. So
Yeah, same. We measured it too. Yeah.
yeah. And I will say that is something I'm going to be curious to see how that, like, that worked fine for us, but it was February. It was breezy, so it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Man, in the middle of the summer when that sun's beating on you, if you
There's no
have like
shade.
if you have a disability, you can sign up to have a
A
golf
golf cart.
cart
Mm-hmm.
take you. You do need to do that prior to the day of lookout. And then they do have wagons that you can rent for little ones. So I thought that was really nice. The walk did not bother me, not at all. And I mean, even in the middle of summer, it's going to be hot, but you know that. I mean, but it is something I'm really glad that we did, because now I want to be able to tell my clients to be prepared for that. Because the other thing that I know you agree with, Amy, is the trams. Once you walk off the ship and you get to the actual island, you're going to take another tram to get to the family beaches and to get to even the adult beaches in the area where the bathrooms and the food and the shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that. I thought it was you do that walk and then once you're there, you're there. They
Yeah.
have trams. We never waited very long for tram. They did an
Uh-uh.
amazing job of keeping it running. However, it's just good to know ahead of time, from the time you're on the ship to getting
Yeah.
off to getting to your spot that you're going to be in. I mean, I'm thinking it's almost like a half hour, but
Yeah.
just letting people
And
know
then the
that
same
ahead of time.
thing, I don't even think sometimes for people, it's the process of getting out there. It's being very mindful about the time that it's going to take you to
Yes.
get back. So like, for example, I thought Lookout was beautiful. Again, it doesn't have a pool. So like that's my biggest complaint.
But you
But
said you probably wouldn't get off
the
again, right?
I don't know that I would get
I
off again
know.
just because again, we had a very like lovely breezy day, but we purposely, so we got off kind of early on that one so that we could like go find a spot, get good photos, because that was our first time there. So we went and like sat out on the beach all morning, and then we had lunch once lunch was served, and then my friend and I actually headed back because I was nervous about trying to like go back in the heat of like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, walking back out that pier, and I knew it was going to be a little bit of a journey. So just bear that in mind, like if you're going with littles and that kind of stuff, like please don't wait until they're already having a meltdown to try to go back to the boat,
because it's going to take you a half hour to get there.
because it's
You know
going to
what
take you
else
about a half an hour to get back.
that I want to mention, and I think you and I talked about this the other day, and I forgot to talk about it, was that hike that you can take. The hike to
Yes,
the
there's a
lighthouse.
beautiful hike.
My husband did that with the boy. They all did it, and I would say that
Mhm.
was the highlight of the island for them. They said
Yeah, my
the
parents
whole
loved
thing
it.
was stunning, and the pictures that they
Mhm.
got out there too were beautiful. So
Yeah.
that is another
And
thing that you can do.
there's lots of really great beach space there. They have a really cool splash pad area there,
Yes.
which I think is cool because it's different from Castaway in that regard. So they still, like, both areas have places you can snorkel. Both areas have places that have like their kids club area and that kind of stuff. But that splash pad was super impressive.
Yes.
So very cool that if you have kids that don't want to swim in the ocean, or you don't want your kids to swim in the ocean, you can take them to the splash pad area. So that was really cool. They have some fun entertainment that happens. However, I do think things like the entertainment and the character meet and greets are a little more limited on Lookout, at least at this point.
I would agree.
Something for listeners to know is that Lookout is still very new for Disney. And so they are still building on the island. They are still getting things ready. That actual island itself, so Disney has a private port on that island. And Rachel and I actually noticed this. Other ships can still port at that island, but they don't go to like Disney's port. They all have to tender. So the fact that, because I don't get off if you have to tender, which means you have to get in like a little boat from the big boat and go across. So the fact that I'd rather walk the pier than tender over.
For sure.
If that makes sense. So I get why Disney did it. I just think they need to put some shade out there. And put a pool in the adult only area.
It's Amy's only wish. So
No big deal.
But it was beautiful. I think it was gorgeous.
It was lovely.
Yeah, I thought it was stunning. And it's a really, really great addition. I kind of consider it part of Disney's portfolio because I think that there will be people that are going to sail just to see that island. So
I think so too. And again, like that was one of the most beautiful places in the world I've seen. And I've traveled
yes, that's
quite a bit. I'm like that. The water was so
the prettiest
blue, so
blue.
Beautiful.
The prettiest blue.
Oh my gosh.
It was stunning.
It was lovely.
So I loved that.
So
yeah.
So that was for sure a fun day at Lookout. Yeah. And again, lots of chairs and umbrellas and things like that. Again, if something to bear in mind at Lookout is that they kind of have a mini dune. And so there's like rows of chairs up against like in the front by the water. And then there's also chairs that are further back from the water. So if you have kids that are runners and you don't want them to run into the water, sit into the back chairs. But if you want some of those front row water spots, get off the ship early and go grab those chairs. So
yeah, because we did. We had a beautiful spot.
Yeah, it was very beautiful. But again, just the process of getting on and off for me and the fact that they don't have a pool for me right now makes me
sense.
Go, I don't know that I would hurry to get off personally.
Yeah. I don't love being in
but I still would recommend
the ocean,
it for people.
like getting in and swimming, but I do love having like a chair up close and putting my feet in the water where I know that's not your.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Yeah. And so was that pirate night then, wasn't it?
That was pirate night. Do you want to tell people what happened to our pirate night, Amy?
Okay, we had the best group costumes planned. And I don't even want to say what it is because we're not going to tell you what it is because we're going to do them on the next Goofy Getaways cruise. Yes. So you all better sail with us on the next one because we're going to do it. So the bag that had all of our costumes, I had 6 people that I had all of the costumes in. So like the second night, I realized, man, I haven't really seen that. I better add. And it's one that I wouldn't realize because I didn't really need it, right? So we put in, a lost luggage thing with Disney. They're checking the ship. They're checking with the port. And it's getting closer and closer. And then all of a sudden it's pirate night. And pirate night's over. And I'm just kind of bummed because I really was looking forward to it. Something really cute and just fun. And we put some time, money, and effort into doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day after pirate night, we went in to wake up one of my boys who was in a different room. And lo and behold, we open the door and he opens the door and he's like, okay, I'm coming. And I just happened to catch a glimpse of something under his bed. And it was the flipping suitcase. I don't know if it got put in there and because they were in an inside stateroom. I don't know what happened. I know it was not there that first day for sure, but I don't know if it got dropped off and they didn't. And I'm not blaming anybody. I was except my kids, because I'm like, if you didn't want to dress up, then that's all you had to do is tell me. But
you could have said
they were genuinely so excited about what it was we were doing. So it was a bummer, and it did make me sad. We still had fun on Pirates Night, but because we did something totally different. So
yes. So Pirates Night happens on a lot of Disney cruise sailings, and if your sailing includes Pirate Night, weather permitting, it also typically includes fireworks at sea. Disney Cruise Line is the only cruise line that is allowed to do fireworks at sea. They have like a special patent and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's always really fun to see. They have a pirate party up on deck. My friend Rachel and I, we had the photo package, which I also recommend to people, even if you're like, I'm not a big picture person, like get the photo package because it's fun. But she and I went down to the lobby to take pictures before we went to Palo for dinner that night. And we were doing like pirate photos and like all the, oh my gosh, I looked like I was probably just like pooing my pants because I'm not good at our photos, but it was very fun. And like it was really cute to watch like families doing photos and the kids doing their pirate faces and their little costumes and stuff. So that's super, super fun. So if your sailing has Pirate Night, lean into it, have a good time with it, and embrace it because it's
the fireworks.
Super fun.
I think that's my favorite part about Pirates Night, the fireworks in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just cool. And other cruise ships will like sit near us so that they can watch our fireworks.
Try to pull up and see that. That's kind of fun too.
Yeah.
I always think that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something to be said about realizing as you're looking at the fireworks, like I'm in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
This is incredible. So,
Yeah.
and there's a fun show too. Like, we don't want to
Mhm.
give that away either, but there's a fun show that they put
Nope.
on, like
There's
on
actually
the
two.
deck. And
There's actually two. There's like one that happens earlier, kind of in between the two dinner times.
Mhm.
And then there will be one that happens after the second dinner time,
shortly
before the fireworks.
So,
I personally like the one that happens in between the two dinners a little bit better,
do you?
but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we don't want to give anything away.
Not too much.
Okay.
But Pirate Night is fun.
Yeah.
And then the next day was our last day, which was our sea day. So honestly, that was just a really nice day. Here's what I think both of us love is that on Disney Cruise Line, you can make your trip be as busy and as full as you want it to be, or like you can be going from trivia to drawing art classes to a mixology class to going and watching the new Captain America movie. Like you can do things back to back
and doing nothing.
or you can just lay there and do nothing. Like truthfully on the sea day, so my friend Rachel and I, we go to Walt Disney World together a lot. And so normally we're doing a lot of park things. She's also my Run Disney buddy. So like, again, we're doing a lot of things. And so we actually just laid in our stateroom and watched Disney movies on the TV, read books, and just really enjoyed getting to hang out together. And it was a very chill, very relaxed day for us. And I was like, that was perfect. That was exactly what we wanted. So people, it does not have to be a crazy, busy run around.
No, you can make it whatever you want it. I mean, a lot of people enjoy sea day because there are so many activities and there's so much stuff that you can do. I love the sea days because that's one of the days I'd love to be at the pool. I will typically avoid the rainforest room on sea day, which sounds silly because you're like, oh, you're actually, but that's the busiest time. So I really try to utilize it all of the other times. And then usually you can get like on the pool deck or get a nice spot. We had such a beautiful breeze that I found a really nice lounge chair and it was on an upper deck. The breeze, I had my book and I was reading. And to me, that was just like, oh, but I know we're talking about food next, but like we started our sea day with Palo brunch, which I would recommend anytime.
It was so good.
So having that brunch and then just having some time to kind of like relax and chill and then.
Yep.
So
it was lovely. So that was a great way to kind of wrap up everything. And then the sad day because you have to get off the ship.
Get off the ship.
I think getting off the ship went very smooth for everyone in our party too. Absolutely. So that was great. Like it's nice and simple and straightforward.
And there's a long line and you need to know there's a long line. Disney keeps it moving. Be kind to the cast members because they're just doing their job. There are a lot of different ways you can do it.
It does move quickly.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It'll take long. And it does look like it's a long line, but they're doing their best to get people off that ship because they needed to get it turned over to get people back on. So yeah, I don't even think, honestly, tell me if I'm wrong, Amy, but that line moved. I don't think it took long. It wasn't longer than 15 minutes, but I even think 10 minutes.
Oh, no. And it was wrapped around the ship, but it did not take more than 15 minutes for us.
Really.
From when we got in line to when we were literally off the ship.
Yeah. And through customs.
Less than 15 minutes.
Yeah. It was really, it was good. Yeah, they really do. They tried to.
Yeah, it was a lovely experience.
Yeah.
But now we need to go back and talk about
the food.
The best topic. Let's talk about food. So first we need to talk about the main dining rooms briefly. Yeah. So Disney Cruise Line always has 3 main dining rooms. You rotate to the different dining rooms. You're assigned like dining rooms on certain nights. And so ours was a 5-night sailing. So with 3 nights, we started at Enchanted Garden, then we went to Royal Court, Animator's Palette, back to Animator's Palette because it was Pirate Night, and then ended back at Enchanted Garden. So you rotate those. One of those main dining rooms is also always open for breakfast and for lunch for guests. You don't need a reservation or anything like that. And that is still included with your cruise fare. So I did that for breakfast a couple of the days. There's always the buffet. So that's something that's available. The pool deck food was actually pretty good on this ship.
And I think to know, like, when you talk about like the 5 nights too and being at those restaurants, so you're still never going to have the same menu twice because there's always a different menu for Pirate Night, which you're going to be at a repeat restaurant. And there's always the opening night menu. It's always the same with what the set sail menu. So you still are going to get a different menu for the restaurants, just to know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And your staff rotates with you.
Yeah.
So that's the other very nice part. So again, we like to keep it real honest with you all. And normally, Amy and I would say that Disney Cruise Line's main dining room is usually really good food. And this time, we're not saying that it was bad, but it wasn't up to that same
standard that it typically is.
Like, right? So really good. It was good. Like it was
good.
It was fine.
Because you have to remember, like Amy just said, with Disney Cruise Line, the experience that you're having in their main dining room is the experience that you would have on other cruise lines in their, would you say, like their added on,
like in their specialty dining,
in
a lot of their specialty dining options.
That is the word I was thinking of. So when you understand, like that's what the caliber that they're trying to do. So with that, and we don't need to go into it too much, other than the service just wasn't what's to be desired. But you can be very honest on your survey. Disney takes those very seriously. It didn't change the fact that we're going to book I've already got Disney cruises booked. When you are blessed enough or lucky enough, whatever it is that you want to call it, to be able to sail on Disney Cruise Line, there's going to be times that you are going to have different levels of service. In the service, it wasn't that they weren't friendly or that they didn't try. It was just lacking. I don't know if it's because we were the later table. One of the things that frustrated me a great deal was we were the last, and there were 10 of us, but there were a lot of other groups too. We were not the only 10.
We weren't the only table at 10.
And there was actually only one night where all 10 of us ate. Otherwise it was typically like 6 of us. And then that's just because of other dinner reservations at like Palo Remy, that type of thing. But we were the last to get food. So the last to get dessert, like we would just be getting our dessert and they would be like stripping all the tables around us. The lights were up. And so, I did mention that to the head server when they asked us. I was very, very honest about it and they were super apologetic. So I don't want to like keep going on and on and on about that it was so terrible. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't
terrible. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't at the same level that we've had on Disney Cruise Line in the past.
And we had a couple of people with us that had never sailed Disney Cruise Line, and that was the thing that was a bummer, that was their first experience. But
so it just seemed like service was very kind but slow. But I do want to give a shout out to the staff. So we sailed with my mom. My mom has a lot of food allergies, and she has sailed other cruise lines before. And a lot of times she gets very disappointed on cruises because her food options are so limited. So for example, they sailed to Alaska last year on a different cruise line, and she had to eat chicken like every single night because that was the only thing that was safe for her to eat on that cruise. So she really appreciated that, even though like it wasn't the most amazing food every single night, she loved that she had options of different things that she got to eat. They did a really good job overall with her allergies and things like that. So Disney Cruise Line does a really good job with that. If you're traveling with anybody with allergies, you can also, like, if your stops include any of their private islands, they'll ask you at dinner the night before, and you can pre-order food that you'll go pick up at like the main dining location on the island during the day. So it's over at like Cook's Barbecue on Castaway and True something barbecue. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, for Lookout.
Truey's at Lookout. Yeah. So that, like, my mom appreciated that aspect of it, even though, again, like, service was a little slow and the quality of the food wasn't always the most amazing thing. She loved that she got to have a variety of different things, and she got to eat something different almost every single night and for breakfast and that kind of stuff. So props Disney Cruise Line on handling
for
allergies.
Sure. Absolutely. And they were on it like from the moment that, because we all sat together, and they were from the moment we sat down. At every night. So I would agree.
Yes. Okay, so now we got to dive in and talk about the actual specialty dining experiences, because of course we had to go and do those for all of you listeners. So I went to Remy. I went to Remy. So for people who are not aware, Remy is a fine dining experience on select Disney cruise ships. They also have like a sister version called Enchanté on some of the other ships. This is like 5-course dining experience. There are 2 different menus for Remy. There's an Americanized menu and then there's a French menu. Apparently, cruise ships are not allowed to have Michelin stars, but the chefs who create the menus on these cruise ships are Michelin star chefs. It was honestly like it was a dining experience. It was really cool to get to do. I went with Amy's son and his best friend, and then I was with my best friend. So the four of us were all like eating and enjoying things together. We did some wine pairings and things like that. It was just, this is an additional cost. The wine pairing is an additional cost as well. I think the dinner was $135 per person. And then like there's the wine pairing that's an additional fee as well. I mean, it partly depends on like what types of wines you get, where those fees go. So just bear that in mind.
This is an exquisite experience, which is
but
good
like
to know.
it is an experience. Like the food that comes out is so, like, I don't even know how to truly describe it. What I will say, though, I loved Remy, and I think Remy is one of those, like, if you're celebrating an anniversary or, like, a really special experience on a ship, or you're with somebody who's, like, a big foodie, Remy is, like, you at least have to do it once. I don't know that Remy is something that I would do every time I sail type of experience. I feel like what we got was worth the price. But at the same time, I liked Palo better.
Yeah, Palo is.
And so the other specialty dining, there's Palo. You can do Palo dinner or Palo brunch.
Or both.
Which one do you want to talk about first, Amy?
Well, we were
Because we
talking
did
about
both for
dinner.
y'all.
Let's talk about dinner. It was delicious.
Let's talk
It was
about
the
it.
best meal I've ever had, and I've eaten at Palo usually every sailing. The food
It was
was the
excellent.
presentation was stunning.
Our
The
server at that
flavor,
restaurant was so good.
the service, and that is obviously an extra charge. You can do it one of two ways. One of the things that I love is that my son, my oldest, is like a true foodie. He understands food experience, like, and so I just kind of said, hey, you know, all of us, you know what we were. There were what, six of us, right? Yeah.
There were 6 of us at dinner.
At dinner. And he ordered, and I tried things that I never would have typically ordered that were just,
Yes.
I can still, this is like the weirdest combination. And Amy has heard me talk about this like over and over again since we sailed. That squash ravioli
The butternut squash ravioli
was unlike anything I've ever, just the flavors, I don't even know what to say. Like, you taking
the
me back to
caprese
that.
that they
Oh
had,
my gosh.
that we had,
the
the balsamic vinegar that's on it.
I'm obsessed
my
with. I'm
gosh.
obsessed with
Like,
it.
I'm still dreaming about those tomatoes and mozzarella and the
Amy,
balsamic.
I
Like,
cannot eat that anywhere
that
else.
was the best
It's one of
caprese
my
I've ever
favorite
had.
things. Yes, and that does happen to
It
me
was
because
so
since
good.
I've had it at Palo, I don't want to have it anywhere else. Oh my goodness. It is an
was so
experience.
good.
It is worth the extra money. If you are sailing, definitely make a reservation for one night. You know, we sometimes go multiple nights, but you will not regret the experience. It was the
fabulous.
whole, and the service. And I love that for us, we had dinner first and then we had brunch following, so you get your same server. And I know that, you know, we have another server that we really, really like from Palo, but man, this was probably my favorite service. It was delicious.
He was excellent. He might be the best, like, restaurant server I've ever had at any restaurant ever. He was excellent. And like, so as Amy mentioned, her son Charles was like picking the menu, but he would help. Like, it was basically a him and Charles show.
Yes.
And they just kind of like had side conversations.
And it worked.
And like,
Whatever
and it went
they
really, really
discussed.
well, because all 6 of us eat things that are different. Like, one of Amy's sons, who, like, he's adventurous, but like, right, I'm a little bit of a picky eater, but like, it went really, really well, and it was so nice to try so many different things. So you can do a prefix menu, or you can do the a la carte, which is what we did. The only thing I didn't like, truthfully, was my salmon entree. And it was mostly just because the salmon itself just didn't, like, it was cooked really well, but it didn't have any flavor compared to everything else that was on the table.
And everything, and I mean,
Like,
if you would have
everything else was
seen how
excellent.
much food, and we ate it, it wasn't waste. I mean, there were 6 of us, but
Oh my gosh.
but everything that we had was delicious, other than it was that like noodle, It was the noodle.
You did like that. It was a lobster. It was basically a lobster pasta,
Yeah,
and you
I
didn't
love
enjoy
lobster,
that. I
but
liked it.
wasn't. Yeah, but definitely, I don't think there was
Yeah.
much that anybody didn't
It was
like.
excellent.
I think Amy and I honestly
Very.
may have been the only two that had something that we kind of didn't like. Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good.
So, and honestly, the salmon, your son didn't even order. I ordered that myself. So
Look at that. Oh yeah. Well, okay. We
That's
won't
on
tell
me.
him that. Yeah. And
Right.
then
We won't tell him that he's always
the
right.
brunch. Oh my goodness. We were able to sit at like the chef's table, which was special. That was another. I mean, I know being the family of the day is a huge deal, but so is sitting at that table.
That was really cool. So we were kind of like in this
So
private
good.
area because we were a party of 8. And we all got to sit together at this big table. So they were like, they did that for us instead of shoving a couple of other tables together. So we all got to sit together. And then again, we kept trying different things. So again, Charles did something similar. I know you really liked the gorgonzola and grape pizza.
It sounds so gross, and Amy didn't like it, but it was delicious. Amy, no. It was so good. And
I don't
something
like
to know
gorgonzola
is like
though. So
on the brunch day, you only get a Palo brunch if there's a C day. If you don't have a C day, they don't do Palo brunch. So that is another reason to book a 4-night instead of a 3-night. I have been dreaming about our food at Palo, and that is no joke.
the chicken it's Parmesan crusted chicken with risotto.
Yes.
But like that is my favorite dish ever on any Disney cruise ship. I get it every time I go to Palo brunch. Like it was just because I didn't personally like the pizza, I still recognize that it was a very good pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
And
all that food was excellent, even though I didn't personally like it.
Yeah.
Right, like just because it wasn't my personal taste doesn't mean that it was like everything that morning. Oh yes,
Amy, you don't even understand.
it's like melts in your mouth.
Love
I know.
almond croissants. You can't get them
They're
anywhere.
so good.
I couldn't. I think I actually might have made like a noise at the table, and my husband was like, "Are you okay?"
Probably.
I'm like, "This is so delicious." I'm just
amazing.
Fine. Just keep handing me the almond croissants. Yeah, it was delicious. Yes. Yeah. So much for us trying to cut down this podcast
was like
a little. We're trying to. It's the food. I can't.
Such an experience. Yeah, we try to keep it concise for you all.
And talking about the
like,
deck food was actually really good too. Like
the deck food was good. I don't really eat at the buffet. I did actually a couple times on this sailing. And one thing I do want to mention, I did do room service from Disney Cruise Line a couple of times. So like some chicken fingers and fries and that kind of stuff. And that's included on your Disney cruise. So a lot of other cruise lines charge extra for room service. The menu is very limited, but Disney actually includes it. So I love that. Rachel and I did that one of the mornings.
Make sure you get gratuity though, because where a lot of the times gratuity is included on everything else. I mean, we typically pay our gratuity ahead of time or when you're there, but that's one thing that make sure you tip if you do room service. We love to do cookies and milk, like before bed every night. It's just one of those things that we've done since the boys were little. So
yeah, or you can get like Mickey ice cream bars in your room.
Yes, yeah, it's so cool. So coffee, yeah.
It's a good time. So lots of good things to eat on the cruise, lots of fun things to do. Like again, your Disney cruise can be exactly what you want it to be, which is what made this so nice for this sailing, because we had a few of our agents on the sailing and some of us had brought family. So like my parents were there, but everybody can kind of go at their own pace and do what they want to do. So if you want to go experience some Disney magic, but you're like, how do we navigate the parks with 16 people? Go take a Disney cruise, because oh my gosh, it's so much easier. Like it's so, and yeah, you can add on extras like things like Palo or mixology classes or that kind of stuff.
But you don't have
everything
to
else,
either.
like you don't have to. You can have an amazing experience and not pay any extra.
Yeah.
So
and soft drinks are included on a Disney cruise, so you don't have to pay extra for those. But yeah.
It was great. I thought it was a wonderful sailing. I loved that itinerary. I loved starting off with Nassau, which really feels like a sea day, then both of Disney's private islands, and then having another like true sea day, like that. Just awesome. It was great. It was a wonderful sailing. It was fun. I can't believe that was our first Disney cruise together.
That is kind of
because
crazy.
We traveled so much.
We travel a lot together. So yeah, I think that we need.
So the fact that was we just need more Disney cruises together.
100%, 100%. Okay, are we ready for our?
I think it's time for Amy's All In. So if you're new here, Amy's All In is where we're going to share with you something that we are all in about, typically related to the topic that we are discussing. So today we are going to share with you something that we are all in about on the Disney fantasy. What is something that is an absolute must do for you,
and
Amy
I
Blades?
think that you and I have the same one. So I want to say my all-in would be Lookout, but I think I talked enough about that in that it is definitely something that you want to do and experience. And I thought it was beautiful. But my all-in is absolutely the dinner and brunch at Palo. I'm all in on Palo.
Yes.
I think that it's a must-do. I don't need to rehash all of those things that I just said, but for me, and they do have Palo on most ships. So I was just thinking,
I think all the Disney cruise ships have a variation of Palo.
They
Some
don't
of them have
Remy
a
on every,
steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have Palo
So-
Steakhouse. And I will say I've done Palo Steakhouse and I did not like that as much as I enjoyed
The Palo.
our Palo.
So, yeah.
So like this Palo is more Italian style food, which is my favorite anyway.
Which is another
so that
reason
was
to book with a
excellent.
travel consultant, because like when you hear about these things, you're going to be able to make sure that we're matching you with the right cruise destination, the right cruise ship, all of those things. So yeah. So that's my all in.
So, shocker, but I'm 100% on the same place as you. I 100% agree. Palo, brunch is my favorite meal of the day, but that dinner was so excellent. Like, I don't care if you do breakfast or brunch or dinner, but for sure, Palo is a must-do on the fantasy. 100%.
With us being, all in on that, it just reminds me to say, reach out to us because we would love to book your vacation for you, no matter what it is. But if you would like me to book your vacation for you, my book is open. Amy definitely has an open book that she's booking new clients, repeated clients. We have an amazing group of people at Goofy Getaways who are College of Knowledge, all educated College of Knowledge and U-Preferred. So we know the product. We know the product that we're offering to you. We've experienced it. So we want to give you the very, very best experience. Everybody's experience is different. So just remember that we are a fee-free travel agency. We would love to book any destination for you. Specifically today, I'm telling you, Disney Cruise Line is my favorite. It's one of my favorite things to book. So yeah, reach out to us at goofygetaways.com. Follow our social media, which is Instagram and Facebook and even TikTok. And obviously you can watch our YouTube podcast where we like to talk about a little bit of everything. But yeah, just a reminder that you can go to our website and get all of that information and take a peek at the agents, anything. If you have any questions, you can always email info@goofygetaways as well. So, and Amy is amazing at getting back to people that leave messages on our Facebook as well. So there's my little plug for Goofy Getaways and how excited we are to bring on new clients and old.
Exactly. We would love to help book your magical vacation to any destination. Obviously, we'd love to help you with a Disney cruise, but any destination. And we love being able to share our thoughts and feedback with you on podcasts like this. So please continue to like, save, share, subscribe, comment on our podcast episodes. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. What episodes do you want to hear? Our next episode, we're going to talk about staying club level at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
And I am just going to throw a little plug in here right before the cruise. We actually recorded this episode before we actually sailed.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up staying at Amy Blade's favorite place. And I loved it. However, I still think my personal favorite that I mentioned in my all-in back on,
when you're going to watch it on the next episode.
I think when you watch the next episode, I think my all-in is still my same all-in at this point. But we're both all in about Disney Cruise Line,
Yes,
Palo brunch, or Palo dinner. You got to do Palo.
All of it. All in on Disney Cruise
cruise.
Line. That's what I have to say. I remember one of our first podcasts we did was actually on like cruising, and I'm supposed to be talking about all of the vendors that
and we
use.
Couldn't stop talking about Disney.
So that's what I'm all in.
We
on.
love it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy listening to us talk about the fantasy, listen. If you think it would be fun to sail with Goofy Getaways, very soon we are going to announce what our next sail with Goofy Getaways is going to be. So stay tuned because it's going to be coming really, really soon. So it gives you some time to plan. But we would love to have you travel and sail with us. We're looking forward to that. So keep your eye out, ear out. We'll let you know. I guess like usual, we will see ya.
Real soon.
If you liked today's episode of the Goofy Getaways podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to follow Goofy Getaways on social media so we can lead you to the magic.